Hello, welcome to the September 2010 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. My name is Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, a nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video covers the first 3 months of the cash fiscal year 2011, July through September. But before looking at fiscal year 2011, let's review how things look as the books closed on fiscal year 2010. As a general observation, the first 8 to 9 months of the last fiscal year were particularly dreary, with net revenue on a cash basis down 7.5% year over year through February. The situation began to improve in March, and by the time the books closed at the end of September, net revenue, excluding transfers, had improved to negative 4.5% for the year. My first table provides historical context to fiscal year 2010, showing the negative 4.5% coming on the heels of a similar percentage decrease in fiscal year 2009. The fiscal year 2010 net revenue amount of $5.492 billion was not only lower than the previous fiscal year, but was also lower than fiscal year 2008 and fiscal year 2007. This graph highlights that fact and also shows the stark contrast in the percent of revenue growth over the past 2 years compared to the 6 to 8% per year experienced each of the previous 3 years. Transfer revenue is usually excluded from these discussions since transfers often represent revenue that has little tie to the economic performance of the state, and transferred amounts often take large swings from year to year. For reference, this table presents net revenue including transfers. When we include transfer revenue, the $5.633 billion in net revenue received in fiscal year 2010 was $231 million above the estimate made by the Revenue Estimating Conference at their March 11 meeting. The next meeting of the REC is scheduled for Monday, October 11. The October REC will likely revise the existing fiscal year 2011 estimate and will also establish the first estimate for fiscal year 2012. Turning to the current fiscal year, we see that revenue continues to gain positive momentum, with cashier net revenue up 2.5% year to date. However, a significant change was made beginning July 1st that has delayed the flow of revenue from racing and gaming taxes into the general fund. In prior years, the general fund received the first $66 million in racing and gaming receipts each fiscal year. Under the changes enacted, the general fund will not begin to receive this revenue until at least late October. This fact is obscuring the real revenue growth rate and will continue to do so until January or later. Through the end of September, this change has reduced general fund revenue by $55.2 million. This table presents an adjusted growth rate calculation with the positive $35 million shown in actual numbers, bolstered by the delayed $55.2 million in gaming revenue. This math produces an adjusted growth rate of positive 6.4%, a nice improvement over the positive 2.5% shown by the current revenue numbers. Recent months have shown revenue improvements compared to the trend experienced through February and into March of 2010. My next chart provides information covering net receipts by month over the most recent 13 months. Revenue increase months are colored blue, decrease months are red. The chart shows net revenue increases in 4 of the past 7 months, with a nice increase experienced this September. However, a check of the previous September on the left-hand side of the graph shows that this year's revenue, although an increase over fiscal year 2010, is still below the level of fiscal year 2009. Part of this is due to the large amount of tax refunds issued September of 2009. This chart shows on the right-hand side the significant drop in refunds issued this September compared to last, and on the left-hand side the large increase experienced last year compared to September of 2008. This final chart highlights the fact that refunds issued September 2009 were a record high September, and that record September followed a very low level of refunds issued in July and August of 2009. While it is clear from the revenue numbers that state general fund receipts have been gaining momentum in recent months, it is not clear from widely available state-level economic indicators just why it is happening. Over the most recent 6 months, personal income withholding tax has increased 4.1%. Sales and use tax, net of refunds, has increased 4.5%. And overall net general fund revenue has increased 3.2%, after adjusting for the gambling revenue change. However, over a similar 6-month period, non-farm employment has eked out only a 0.4% gain, while employment numbers from the household survey have fallen 0.8%, and the number of Iowans counted as unemployed has risen 2.1%, something that has increased the state unemployment rate from 6.7% to 6.8% over the past 6 months. Personal income, measured from quarters ending December 2009 and June of 2010, has increased only 1.9% in 6 months, and the wage and salary component of personal income has increased just 1%. It is hard to see how income tax withholding can be increasing 4.1% while employment is flat or falling, and wage and salary income is increasing only at a 1% rate. A better economic growth picture is shown in housing statistics, with a 4.2% improvement in the annual number of single-family building permits issued and a 6.6% change in the number of existing home sales. However, both are improving from a sharply depressed level. In summary, fiscal year 2010 ended above projections but well below fiscal year 2009. To date, fiscal year 2011 is above the same period of fiscal year 2010 and is above projections, but the absolute level of revenue is quite weak. Currently available indicators of employment and income seem low in relationship to the level of increase shown in state revenue. Current housing indicators present a better picture at the moment. I appreciate your time and your interest in Iowa General Fund revenue. Goodbye, and I hope you check out the next monthly video memo in early November.